When you buy these, it's better to get them like this one has at the end, where you can actually screw like a mop or a broom handle into it to extend it for high ceilings or painting taller walls. You may want a hair dryer to speed up your touch-ups. And you might want gloves. It's up to you if you want some kind of like dishwashing gloves or latex gloves. Now, one tip is when you're done painting, you can stick your paintbrush in a large Ziploc bag and stick it in, I believe it works either in the refrigerator or the freezer. You could try using like an old pet food bag, and since I have this here, I'll do a little shout out to Wellness. They're one of the best brands. The main thing is they don't have animal byproducts, which most of the mainstream pet foods do, and animal byproducts, they only have to prove whether it's protein, and that can include moldy grain and duck spills and all sorts of things that aren't really good to eat. When you're done with your spackle, don't forget to cover it up and seal the container well. If it dries out, you can just add water, and the tool you can just clean with water, or if it gets too dry on there, you can just scrape it off. Okay, so I poured some in the tray. I just, made sure it was well stirred and just poured some in there. I'm going to put my stir stick back in. Sew it really well. You can stand on it, whatever you want. And then I'll take my roller, my clean roller, and I'm going to use the up ramp to even out after I get some paint on it. I'm going to use the up ramp to even out so that there's not like a big chunk just in the middle, but it's kind of evenly dispersed on the roller. And you do have to be careful. If you didn't have a drop cloth, it definitely can splatter. I would not recommend wearing any clothes that you're worried about getting paint on. And the best way to paint it is in a V, or a W, I guess I should say. And here, I don't care. There's not going to be any color variation. I'm going straight to the top and the ceiling, so I can just go straight over there. Otherwise I'd have tape or something. And in fact, the ceiling is the main reason I'm putting this on. I have a brick building, so it's pretty well insulated. But for the cosmetics, and because this is a wall on the outside of the house, I'm going to do probably from the baseboards on up. If I wanted to do the baseboards, I would have probably put tape along the carpet so I didn't get the carpet. I'd be doing some of that with the brush for detail for sure. But this is actually sort of an easy prep work kind of a job, because I'm just going to be putting the white everywhere. I don't have to worry too much except for that one cover. And to be honest, I'll probably be lazy, just maybe use a brush around it and the sponge to touch it up. But don't do that, use your tape.
Took comfortable waiting in the booth and all of this over who you talking. Rob while you walk in the cash your check.
I'm actually planning to paint this wall too, so I'm not going to be worried about if I go past the corner. Otherwise, I would tape it.
We get the chain and the piece took from off your neck. From the coupe to the coffin, laying in the mall, cause envious didn't get enough from extortion. Lost in the jungle, tears over rappers who died like Freaky Tide. Big L and stack bundles. Label execs turning to rich ass junkies. Same as you forgot about a spit 16 like Mikey bringing the
base parts are white too, but the color's a little bit different. The thing about paint is you supposedly can get a really close match with the machines at the paint stores and whatnot, but paints will fade and stuff due to sunlight, so it's better not to really count on being able to find a match. And if you are trying to patch up smaller areas and the color's not white, it's always better to use a roller rather than just to try to cover up like a little small circle or something like that. It tricks the eye a little bit better to get a bigger patch of it. Also, I didn't talk much about primer. Primer is used depending on the situation. If it's straight onto drywall, it's a good idea to use primer. Now they make some primer and paints together, so ask at the paint store what your options are. Primer is sometimes used if you're going with a big color change and you need some sort of help in between so that your top color really comes through. Primer can be used in that case, and sometimes it costs less, so it's better to go with the primer first. And then they also make things like stain blocking primer. If there's like different stains on the wall that you're having trouble covering, or maybe just because like a big color change like I mentioned.
Yeah. So fix your face when you speak in a Mecca. From Tribeca, the left rack, rock a mad hat, they expect that. I rep that, respect that. It's like we the most thorough. Orange tops, blue tops, even so green and yellow. In a New York minute, I'ma rep New York in.
I'm gonna wash my sponge off before the paint dries on there.
That's all I finish. Don't use no gimmicks. Catch me on the block drinking New York Guinness. Making New York spinach. I done did a bid, did a New York sentence. New York minute. Kiss, yo. Rappers stop selling. Kim did a year and a day for not telling.
Don't criticize. Legalize it, yeah.
I guess everybody got a New York minute, huh?
I probably should be wearing my glasses, especially going right under this, where I could be, on a step stool or something like that. And I'm probably going to go for 2 coats after this coat dries. Second coat from here on up. And I'll do the ceiling, probably that outer wall.
That's all I finish. Don't use no gimmicks. Catch me on the block drinking New York Guinness. Making New York spinach. I done did a bid, did a New York sentence. New York minute. Kiss, yo. Rappers stop selling. Kim did a year and a day for not telling. Fox went deaf in one ear too. Shortly after that, she did a year too. I beat the case, not enough evidence. Get ready to see